The secrets of the Bible never stop. It's truly an incredible book. Let's look at Cain and Abel. Although Cain and Abel are spoken of as two individuals, they represent two different nations/philosophies. Cain represents the current administration, and Abel represents an incoming people/philosophy. Both spearheaded by two individuals. Let's look at Cain. There is a very interesting connection between Cain and Adam and Eve, besides that they were family. Genesis 4:1-2. 1 And Adam knew Eve his wife, and she conceived, and bare Cain, and said, I have gotten a man from the Lord. 2 And she again bare his brother Abel. And Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. Did you catch that? Cain was also a tiller of the ground, just like Adam and Eve. Genesis 2:15 KJV. And the Lord God took the man, and put him into the Garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it. The NASB say. Genesis 2:15. Then the Lord God took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to cultivate it and tend it. All translations use the same Hebrew word, 5647. Abad. The reason this is so fascinating is because Cain and Adam and Eve were tillers of the ground. Which means Cain was doing the same work as Adam and Eve. They were both the people of God at some point. Both made in the image of God. Both anointed by God as priest. They were assemblies. Different priesthoods for different people at different times. Cain represented God on earth at some point. They were both in the presence of God when they were in the land and garden. Once ejected from the land and garden, they were no longer in the presence of God. They no longer had the tree of life. Their work would no longer produce fruit. Genesis 3:18. It will produce thorns and thistles for you, and you will eat the plants of the field. Genesis 4:12. When you work the ground, it will no longer yield its crops for you. Every tree that does not bear good fruit is cut down and thrown into the fire. I think this can put to rest that Cain brought the wrong kind of sacrifice to God. He was doing what he was supposed to do. Producing fruit for God. Working God's land or God's garden. We can also put to rest that Cain and Abel were continuing a long-standing feud between shepherds and farmers. The story of Cain is the story of Adam and Eve. They were both in charge of the garden/land. The story is just told in a different way. It's the recurring theme in the Bible. This is the account of the heavens and the earth when they were created, when the Lord God made the earth and the heavens. As long as the earth endures, seed time and harvest will never cease.